Shalom, shalom, daughters of Yah. It is me, Malcolm Marie, your favorite big sister, mentor, and life coach. And let's close out our chapter on my hysterectomy journey. Praise, glory, and honor that Abba has seen fit to allow me to go through the surgery and to wake up. Surgery was originally scheduled for November 3rd. However, on October 26th, I got a call from the nurse practitioner asking, was I available to have the surgery done the 27th, which was the next day, which was a whole week before my surgery. And it was an answer to a prayer, because I know my family, we had plans to travel in late November, and I was concerned that the surgery was going to hinder us being able to travel. So I did ask the Father for a favor that he would, if possible, make my surgery advance as far as timetable, and he answered my prayer, Toda Yah. I was so grateful that I had been so proactive in my preparation. Now, those who know me know that I'm not a long-term preparer. I thrive on hyper-focusing on something and just knocking it out. It's part of my ADHD. But Abba knew. So he had me really prepared for this. And so when it was time for the surgery, now mind you, 1 day notice, I was pretty much prepared for everything in the house. The day before the surgery, that Thursday, I cooked, I think I cooked 2 meals. And I had already arranged for a family friend to provide Sabbath meals for a couple of Sabbaths. So I had completed all my laundry. One of the goals I wanted was to make sure that all the laundry in the house for my husband and I were done, and not just done, but put away, and that was done. So I really was ready to go the next day and preparing, like while I'm there in the hospital. And I felt, I guess the best way I can say is just like stuck. You know, I felt I couldn't pray for myself, right? I couldn't pray for myself. And I just couldn't. I just couldn't. It was one of those, I can't even remember experiencing this feeling before, but it was a time where I needed others to pray for me. You know, I couldn't open my lips to ask the Father to ensure that my eyes would open again, which was a fear that I had. Not a fear as in I'm afraid to die, but thinking about if I didn't wake up, how would that affect my family? So that was the anxiety that I was feeling. And I just couldn't, I don't know, I just couldn't pray for myself. But Toda Yah, I had sisters and brothers. The night before, we had 3 of the Morim from our assembly reached out and called me and my husband. And they prayed for us, prayed over us, over everything, and which was such just a comfort. It was comforting. You know, it was comforting for my family. This was funny. So when the surgeon comes in that morning, I asked him. I said, "Did you ever get sleep last night?" And he was like, "Yeah, I went to sleep like 7:30." I said, "Did you and your wife fight last night?" You know, making light of it, but still seriously, yo, are you in a good headspace to do this surgery? But he had a great sense of humor. When I was wheeled into the surgery in the operating room, it wasn't until after, like in hindsight, I realized the music they were playing. They were playing "I Will Survive." So I'm in the bed, I'm just singing "I Will Survive," but not making the connection that this was like, you know, divine message, like, you know, Malka, you're going to be okay. But, you know, I just love music, so I just started dancing and singing and totally like missed the message. Toda Yah, this was a robotic laparoscopic operation. It is literally a robot, okay? It is like, not like a robot like this, but it is a massive machine with 4 long arms. And that is what did the surgery. The surgeon controlled it by his fingers at a console and with his feet. And then that's it. The next thing I remembered, I was waking up in recovery. I couldn't leave the hospital until I urinated. The whole thing is that the anesthesia makes everything, you know, go to sleep, makes everything rest. And it was so crazy because I could not urinate. Like, I couldn't feel if my bladder was full. And when I did begin to feel like my bladder was full, I couldn't release it. She came back with a fresh cup of coffee and she said, this is going to help you. And sure enough, I was able to urinate, and then they helped me to get dressed and took me to the car, and I came home to the loving care of my husband, my sister, and my children. Todaya. Experience was, I would give a 10 out of 10. Like, I can't even complain. The experience was beautiful. Everybody was beautiful. Everybody were kind and gentle and patient. And I can only attribute it to Abba Yah. You know, Abba Yah just put people in my environment around me that just really cared for me and loved me and were concerned. I mean, like, they were really concerned. And I pray a special blessing for each and every person that the Father used during my care, during every. Shout out to University of Maryland, Baltimore, Washington campus. So in one of my videos, I was sharing how I was preparing and everything that I bought that I was going to use. So let's talk about what actually helped and what I used and what I didn't use. Still, I'm using this thing. I love it. It's my pregnancy pillow. Oh my goodness. It's like I snuggle inside of it and it's like just being hugged. And it's very, very comfortable. It did help with the laying on your side or laying on your stomach, which is, I'm a stomach sleeper. So that was a plus. My grabber, plus. Not only was it just for grabbing things that might be on the floor if I was walking, it's even if I was in bed, if I need to grab something. So it's on my bed. Before I left, right, I put a folding table in front of my end table. So I had my end table and then this folding table, and I had everything that I would need, right? So I had books, I had my supplements, I had a box of tissue, I had hauls, just anything that I thought that I would need, that I wanted, I just had it all there. And so my grabber was very helpful when I need to grab something from off my end table or my side table that was too far from me, that it was right there. So I really think that preparing another extra table next to a side table, next to your end table, if you can, that you should do that. And just put anything you think you might need. Because at the end of the day, you know, I know for me, I didn't want to keep calling a family member, hand me this, hand me that, which they were more than willing to do. But I wanted to just be able to be self-sufficient. Very happy that I had that prepared before I left, right? So when I walk into my room after surgery, my bed's already made, my pillows are already in place. All I had to do is to jump into bed. So my husband pillow, my pregnancy pillow was helpful. My grabber was very helpful. I took Miralax every day to make sure that I would not be constipated, because you don't want straining after a hysterectomy, right? You want just to not put any downward pressure in that region. So I made sure that I stay on top of my Miralax. I drank it with apple juice or grape juice. I drank it with a juice. First of all, it didn't taste like anything going in the juice, but then natural fruit juices also help stimulate the bowels. So it helped. I had no problems with constipation. My Tums and my chewable ginger tabs were also something I was very, very grateful for, because I did have gas. It was painful. It was painful to the extent of having to hold my breath and wait for it to pass. And I did feel like some women talked about having the gas in your shoulders. I did feel gas, especially in this shoulder. Where does this gas come from? Well, when you have the type of surgery that I had, you're on a table. They incline you with your head down. One of the incisions that they make is an incision for the camera that helps the doctor to see. But that same port is first used to extend your abdomen with gas, right? So that the doctor needs room to see what he's doing. So when the surgery is over, that gas, a lot of that gas, it gets trapped in the body. So what I felt was the gas moving, right? And something, like I said, sometimes it was painful. But I did find that, I don't even know how many Tums I ate, but I ate Tums. And I chewed those gingers, and I drank tea. I started wearing a binder, I believe the same day, if not the next day. Okay, so the binder is not like a, like one of them, really constrictive snatchers, where just like a waist snatcher. It's nothing like that. It really is a gentle way of keeping your body in. And this is the thought process, right? You had an organ removed. There's now going to be space. And that space is going to be filled in by your other organs, right? The intestines are going to move down, fill in that space. Yah and everything fills in nicely. It gave me comfort wearing the binder. It made me feel as I was helping my internal organs kind of fall into place of where they needed to be shifted to. I'm not a medical professional, but that kind of made sense to me. It helped me, it comforted me, so I did wear the binder. What helped was walking. Now, the first day when I came home, I didn't do any walking. I just stayed in bed and slept. But after that, I made sure I got up and I just walked the top floor, walked out of my room into the guest room, back up the hallway. Did it a couple of times, and then I realized that when I did that, I would have gas. The gas would begin to move. So it is conducive to getting gas out the body. I didn't go down the stairs for like the first 3 days. When I did go down the stairs, I just did it once for that one day. And so as days progressed, I did more. Long story short, I did more walking, more going up and down the stairs. The seatbelt pillow. It was something I purchased, but I could have used, if I thought about it, I could have just used a regular small pillow in the house, because that was basically the only time I used it, because I didn't leave the house until my 2 weeks follow-up. I wasn't feeling any kind of discomfort or anything, so I really didn't need it. So I would say that the seatbelt pillow is something that you don't need to purchase. If you have a small pillow, use that, or just take a pillowcase and fill that with towels or a rag, whatever the case may be. You just want something to come in between your scars and the pillowcase, especially depending on the pillowcase, the seatbelt, especially depending on how far you have to drive. When I left the hospital, I was still numb. I couldn't feel anything. My drive wasn't even a 5-minute drive. I probably could have been okay without the pillowcase pillow or anything, but I think just having something there is comforting between you and the seatbelt. Because this is a new experience. You don't know what to expect. It's better to have something and say, well, I didn't really need that, than to say, oh, that would have been helpful, but it's too late because you didn't prepare to have that with you. Some things that I had that I didn't need at all was the compression socks. I was afraid that I was going to be so out of it and loopy that I was going to just be in bed for 2 or 3 days without moving, but that wasn't the case. I did get Moderna for the scars, but there really is no scars. I have 4 incisions that's not even an inch, and they seem to be fading nicely. I think castor oil and cocoa butter is going to take care of that. So even though I did buy the Moderna, but everybody's skin is different, right? I don't have surprises. Now, the first surprise I got, Sister Carletta Joy, she I think it was the day of the surgery when she's sending me her best wishes. She says, hey sis, get a toilet booster. I didn't even think about this. And I heard nobody mention this to have after surgery. And when I went to the bathroom for the first time, I was like, Toda Yah for giving this message to my sister to tell me, because that's what I needed. I absolutely needed it, and I absolutely used it. What also surprised me was it wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be. Now, I attribute all these things to the Father, because I have read some horror stories. And I'm just like, wow, none of these things, Todaya, is part of my experience. And I attribute it to the Father's grace and mercy and compassion by the prayers, just not before the prayers, for his love for me, and just the outpouring of prayers I know I received for this, that the pain wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Mindful, I didn't skip a pain medication. So what the pain would have felt like if I didn't take the oxycodone every 4 hours, every whatever it was, I don't know, because I didn't find out. You know, if it's whatever the directions were, that's what I did. In between, if I felt any kind of anything, I would take 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol. I think after, let me see, Friday, maybe by Tuesday, Wednesday, by the latest, I was still taking something for pain. And after that, I just wasn't any, it was just nothing. So that was a surprise. Another surprise was the lack of blood afterwards. Now, mind you, the thing that would cause the bleeding was gone, but I did have a vaginal cuff done, and that was stitched, something, you know, but there was nothing. Like, there was no need for a pad. It was just a liner, and that was it. Another surprise was I didn't have an appetite for a couple of days. Like, I just didn't want to eat, didn't feel to eat. What I did feel like eating was rice when I did want to eat. So I don't even know how much lamb biryani I ate. But I just felt like I just wanted rice. And it probably was my body just needing some complex carbs because I didn't have an appetite. But my body needed energy for healing. Now, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised because it's more of how I kind of see myself. It's not often that I am put in such a humble position, a vulnerable position, that I now have to be the recipient of support and help. Couldn't do much of anything for myself. And my husband, you know, my kids, you know, my sister. It's humbling. And it was almost like an opportunity for me to know that I'm loved. You know, I'm loved. I'm loved, not just with words, but indeed I'm loved. And then the gifts started to come in the mail. I'm just like, what is happening? We've connected through either Titus 2 or Adorning the Bride. And they just knew that I had the surgery, and I got gift boxes in the mail, and I got gift cards in the mail. And then one of the Morim here sent me a beautiful arrangement of plants. I love plants. I have dozens of plants, and it was like all these things were so unexpected, just so unexpected. And it was humbling, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful, so grateful. I didn't expect to connect with strangers. I joined Hysterectomy Sister on Facebook, the Facebook group, and trust me, some of those stories were enough to make you terrified. Like, I read stories that I just wish I didn't read. But there were some people there that I was able to connect with, especially one sister. She didn't have what I had. As far as I have children, she didn't have any children, and she was facing this surgery, knowing that she's never going to have children out of her body. And just to be a word of encouragement to her. But anyway, I didn't expect that. The sister in the body that we had our surgeries days apart, and we're checking in on each other, and you know, our stories are different, and it's definitely two different paths. But at the end of the day, we were believers walking this out together, and that was special. So tomorrow, December 1st, is going to be my 5th week post. What am I doing now? I'm just dealing with, I'm doing red light therapy, which helps heal wounds and So I'm doing that every day for 20 minutes. I'm using castor oil. I'm still sleeping with my pregnancy pillow because it's comfortable, not because I need it. The greatest thing that I'm experiencing now is peace. Like, I used to dread going to the bathroom. I used to be so fearful sitting down in public. I mean, this was all the time. I've had horror stories of being grateful I had extra clothes somewhere, or that I had on a printed skirt that could hide the stains. I remember, and that was an incident at the airport. You know, it's just horror stories. I have the peace of knowing that I will never have to go through that again. That I don't have to do that. I don't have to grab behind me. I don't have to flip my skirt around. I don't have to do those things anymore. I can go to the bathroom and not be afraid of what I'm going to see, because I see nothing. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And so I want to end this by giving the Father the praise and the glory and the thanksgiving for what he's done for me. I also want to encourage you to not be afraid. If a hysterectomy is what you need to heal your body, then get it done. I think what gives me, adds to my peace of my decision, is that I had done so much for so long that I felt like I had done everything I could have done. I don't have any haunting thoughts, well, you didn't try this, you did. And I'm not saying to you to try everything, right? But try. See what you can do to, if there's anything you can do to heal what is happening in your body. Be prayerful. Pray about it. Ask Abba. Ask your daddy for permission if this is something that he will allow you to do. I know I've done that, and I know he told me yes. He allowed it. He gave me that grace to do it, and he has blessed it. And every part of it, every part of the journey. And if you do the same thing, if you do your due diligence and involve the Father in your decisions and be prayerful and fasting, and if this is the next step for you, then do it. Because I look at my future now with excitement, right? I look at it with such peace, and it's like, it might be a minor thing, right? But he who feels it knows it. And I'm happy. I'm very happy. And I pray that these videos, they can be a source of support and encouragement and wisdom for you in your journey, and I give y'all the glory. As always, it is me, Malcolm Marie, your favorite big sister mentor, my coach. Shalom, please.